Hello, wonderful learners. Welcome back to English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so thrilled that you have decided to join me today for what promises to be an incredibly useful session for your English fluency. If you've been looking for a way to bridge that gap between textbook English and the real living language that native speakers use every single day, then you are in exactly the right place. Today we are going to dive deep into the specific words and phrases that allow you to sound more natural, more relaxed, and more like a local. This is not just about memorizing a list of vocabulary definitions, because that often leads to stiff and robotic speech. Instead, we are going to explore how these words fit into sentences, how they change the tone of what you are saying, and how they can give you the confidence to express yourself fully. Before we get started, I want to remind you that the best way to learn is to actively participate. So when I give examples or ask you to repeat something, try to say it out loud if you can, or at least whisper it to yourself. This physical act of speaking helps to lock the sounds and patterns into your memory. If you are enjoying this content and want to support the channel, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson. All right, let us settle in and start improving your English fluency right now. One of the biggest secrets to sounding fluent is not actually using big, complicated words, but rather knowing how to use simple, flexible words effectively. Native speakers often use what we call vague language or softener words to make conversation feel less direct and more friendly. Let us start with a word you probably know but might not be using enough, and that word is stuff. Now, in school, you might have been told that stuff is informal and that you should use specific nouns. But in daily conversation, native speakers use stuff constantly to refer to a collection of things or ideas without needing to list them all. For example, imagine you are telling a friend about your weekend. Instead of saying, "I did my laundry," "cleaned my room," "went grocery shopping," and "paid my bills," you can simply say, "I had a lot of stuff to do around the house." It sounds natural and effortless. Let us practice that sentence together. I had a lot of stuff to do around the house. Notice how the word stuff groups all those chores together. It implies that the specific details are not as important as the fact that you were busy. We can also use stuff to talk about intangible things, not just physical objects. If you are feeling stressed, you might say, "I have got a lot of stuff on my mind." This is a very common way to express that you are worried or thinking about many different problems without getting too personal. It invites the other person to listen, but it does not force them to hear every single detail unless they ask. Try saying that with me. I have got a lot of stuff on my mind. The beauty of this word is its versatility. You can use it when you buy groceries by saying, "I need to buy some salad stuff," meaning lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers. You can use it when talking about sports equipment by saying, "Did you bring your gym stuff?" It is a word that saves you time and makes your speech flow smoother because you do not have to pause and search for the exact name of every single item. Closely related to stuff is the word things, but native speakers use them slightly differently. While stuff is uncountable, meaning we treat it like a singular concept, things is countable. You might hear someone say things are looking up, which is a lovely idiom, meaning that the situation is improving. If you have been having a hard time at work, but then you get a promotion, you could tell your friend things are finally looking up. It is a gentle and optimistic phrase. Another great way we use things is to describe the general state of life. If you run into an old friend you have not seen in a long time, you might ask, "How are things?" This is a perfect alternative to "How are you?" because it is broader. It asks about their job, their family, their health, and their life in general. Let us try asking that. How are things? And if life is going well, you can simply answer, "Things are good." It is short, sweet, and very natural. Now let us move on to another essential aspect of native speech, which is how we soften our opinions. In many cultures, being direct is seen as polite and efficient. But in English-speaking cultures, especially in the UK, and parts of North America, being too direct can sometimes sound a bit aggressive or blunt. To avoid this, we use phrases like, "I reckon," or "I guess," or "I suppose." Let us look at "I reckon" first. This is very common in British and Australian English, but you will hear it in parts of America too. It simply means "I think" or "I believe," but it feels much more casual. If you are looking at the dark clouds in the sky and you want to predict the weather, saying, "I think it will rain" is fine. But saying, "I reckon it is going to rain" sounds much more like a casual conversation between friends. It suggests that this is just your opinion and you are not stating a scientific fact. Try saying it. "I reckon it is going to rain." Similarly, we use "I guess" to show that we are fairly sure about something, but we are open to being wrong. If someone asks you if you want to go out for dinner but you are feeling tired, you might say, "I guess I will just stay home tonight." This sounds softer than saying, "I will stay home." The phrase "I guess" suggests that you have thought about it. And this is your conclusion, but it is not a rigid demand. It makes you sound more flexible and easygoing. Imagine your friend asks you what time the movie starts. You think it is at 7, but you are not 100% certain. You would say, "I guess it starts at 7. This protects you if you are wrong because you signaled that you were not completely sure. Let us practice that intonation. "I guess it starts at 7. Notice how the pitch of your voice might go up slightly at the end, or stay flat, showing that slight uncertainty. Another word that is absolute gold for intermediate learners is the word "basically." This is a transition word that native speakers use all the time to summarize a story or to explain something complex in a simple way. If you have just told a long, confusing story about how you missed your bus, lost your wallet, and had to walk home in the rain, you can finish the story by saying, "Basically, I had a terrible day." The word "basically" tells the listener that you are summing up the main point. It is like a signal that says, "Here is the most important part." You can also use it when you are answering a question. If someone asks you what your job involves and you do not want to explain every boring detail, you might say, "Basically, I manage the team and make sure projects are finished on time." It is a wonderful tool for controlling the flow of conversation. It stops you from rambling and helps you focus on the core message. Try using it in a sentence right now. Think of a movie you watched recently. Instead of explaining the whole plot, try to summarize it in one sentence starting with "basically." For example, basically, it is about a journey to space. Let us switch gears and talk about words we use to describe our feelings and energy levels, because this is a huge part of daily chat. You learn the word "tired" in beginner English classes, and tired is a perfectly good word. But native speakers often use more colorful or extreme words to describe their state. One of the most common ones is exhausted. If you have worked a 12-hour shift, you are not just tired, you are exhausted. Using this word allows you to be more expressive and helps the listener understand the intensity of your feeling. I am absolutely exhausted. Hear how that sounds much stronger than I am very tired. Another great one is the word shattered. This is very common in British English. If you are shattered, it means you are broken into pieces from tiredness. It is a very evocative image. You might say, I cannot come out tonight. I am completely shattered. On the other end of the spectrum, when we talk about things we like or enjoy, we often use the word fancy. Now, fancy can be an adjective, meaning decorative or expensive, like a fancy restaurant. But today, I want to teach you how to use it as a verb. In British English, especially, to fancy something means to want it or to be attracted to it. If you are hungry and you want a burger, you can say, I really fancy a burger right now. This sounds much more natural and conversational than saying, I wish to eat a burger. It implies a spontaneous desire. You can also use it to ask someone what they want. If you are with a friend and you are deciding what to do, you can ask, what do you fancy doing? This is a friendly, open-ended way to ask for their preference. Let us practice that question. What do you fancy doing? It rolls off the tongue very nicely. You can even use it to ask about romantic interest. Do you fancy him means are you attracted to him? So it is a very powerful little word with multiple uses. Now I want to talk about a word that causes a lot of confusion for learners, but is used constantly by natives, and that word is actually. Many learners use actually to mean currently, because in many European languages, the similar sounding word means right now. But in English, actually is used to correct a misconception or to introduce surprising information. It is a way of saying, in fact or truly. For example, if someone assumes you are American because of your accent, but you are really Canadian, you would say, actually, I am from Canada. You are gently correcting them. It is polite but firm. We also use actually to express surprise. If you thought a movie was going to be boring but you enjoyed it, you could say the movie was actually really good. Here, the word actually highlights the contrast between your expectation and the reality. It adds depth to your opinion. Without it, the sentence, the movie was really good, is a bit flat. With it, you are telling a mini story about how your opinion changed. Let us try a practice sentence. Imagine you did not want to go to a party, but you ended up having fun. You would say, I actually had a great time. Say it with a little emphasis on the word actually. I actually had a great time. Let us weave in some phrasal verbs because you cannot really speak natural English without them. A very common one for daily schedules is to head out. This simply means to leave or to depart. If you are at a party and it is getting late, instead of saying, I must leave now, which sounds very formal, you can say, I think I am going to head out. It sounds casual and implies movement. It softens the exit. You can also use it to announce your departure from work. Right, guys, I am heading out. See you tomorrow. It is friendly and professional at the same time. Another similar one is to head off. It means the same thing. I am heading off now. Try saying this next time you leave a room full of people. I am going to head out now. It feels much more like something a native speaker would say compared to I am leaving. Another fantastic phrasal verb for social situations is catch up. This has a few meanings, but the most common social one is to talk to someone you have not seen in a while to exchange news. If you see an old friend, you might say we need to catch up soon. This means we need to spend time together and tell each other what has happened in our lives. You can also use it as a noun. We had a great catch-up over coffee. It implies a warm, deep conversation, not just a quick hello. It is a very positive phrase that builds connection. If you are behind on your work, you can also use catch up to mean doing the work you missed. I need to stay late to catch up on some emails. So it is about bridging a gap, whether that is a gap in time with a friend or a gap in your workload. Let us practice the social version. Let us grab coffee and catch up. It is an invitation to connect. Now let us talk about the word wonder. This is a beautiful verb that native speakers use to express curiosity or to ask polite questions. Instead of asking a direct question like, "Where is the bathroom?" which can sometimes feel a bit abrupt, we often say, "I wonder where the bathroom is." It turns the question into a statement of curiosity, which is softer and more polite. You can also use "I was wondering" to ask for favors. This is a magic phrase for politeness. Instead of saying, "Can you help me?" say, "I was wondering if you could help me." This makes it much easier for the person to say yes, because you are not demanding, you are just pondering the possibility. It gives them space. Try asking for a favor using this structure. "I was wondering if you could give me a ride." It sounds lovely and respectful. It shows you have good social awareness. Let us look at the word realize. This is another one that is often used differently than learners expect. In English, to realize usually means to become aware of something suddenly or to understand something clearly. It does not usually mean to make something come true like realizing a dream, although it can mean that in specific contexts. In daily chat, it is about a mental click. For example, "I didn't realize it was so late." This means you were not aware of the time, and suddenly you looked at the clock and understood. It is a great word for explaining mistakes or changes in plans. "I realized I left my keys at home, so I had to go back." It explains the thought process behind your actions. Practice saying, "I didn't realize." "I didn't realize you were waiting for me." It shows empathy and understanding. Moving on, let us discuss the word literally. Now, this word has evolved a lot. Traditionally, it means that something is factually true and not a metaphor. For example, "He literally fell off his chair" means he actually fell. However, in modern conversational English, native speakers often use literally simply to add emphasis, even if what they are saying is an exaggeration. You might hear someone say, "I was literally dying of laughter." Now, obviously, they were not actually dying. They were just laughing very hard. While some grammar sticklers do not like this usage, it is incredibly common, and if you want to understand casual speech, you need to know it. It is used to show high emotion. "I was literally so shocked." It acts as an intensifier like the word very, but with more drama. Use it carefully, but know that when you hear it, it usually just means really or completely. Let us talk about a word that helps you agree with people, and that word is absolutely. If someone asks you a question or states an opinion and you agree 100%, you could just say, "Absolutely." Do you think we should book the tickets now? Absolutely. It is stronger than yes. It shows enthusiasm and total agreement. It builds a good rapport with the person you are talking to. It can also be used with adjectives to mean very. "It was absolutely delicious." This sounds much better than just saying it was very good. It shows you really appreciated the food. The weather is absolutely beautiful. It adds a layer of passion to your speech. Try using it next time you agree with someone. Just one word. Absolutely. Another small but mighty word is bit. Native speakers use a bit to soften negative adjectives or to make things sound less serious. Instead of saying it is cold outside, we often say it is a bit cold. Instead of saying that shirt is expensive, we say it is a bit expensive. It is a way of being polite and not complaining too much. If you are hungry, saying, I am a bit hungry, sounds less demanding than I am hungry. We also use it in the phrase a little bit. Can you move a little bit to the left? It helps to grease the wheels of social interaction, making requests and observations feel lighter. Even if something is very expensive, saying it is a bit pricey is a very British way of understanding the situation. It is part of that cultural tendency towards understatement. Now let us explore the word massive. This is a great alternative to big or large. It is very common in spoken English to describe something huge, either physically or conceptually. That house is massive. But we also use it for abstract things. A massive problem, a massive opportunity, a massive mistake. It carries more weight than big. If you say I made a massive mistake, people understand that it is serious. If you say I am a massive fan of that band, it means you really love them. It adds energy to your description. Try replacing big with massive in your next conversation and see how it changes the feeling. I have a massive amount of work to do. It sounds overwhelming and dramatic, which is exactly how we often want to express our stress. Let us not forget the word figure. We often use the phrasal verb figure out. This is essential for problem-solving contexts. To figure something out means to solve a problem or to understand a confusing situation. If you are looking at a map and you are lost, you might say we need to figure out where we are. It implies a process of thinking and calculating. It is much more active than just saying we need to know where we are. Figure out implies effort. I cannot figure out why my computer is so slow. It paints a picture of you trying different things to fix it. We also use I figure to mean I conclude or I assume, similar to I reckon. I figured you would be hungry, so I made dinner. This means I assumed you would be hungry based on the time or the situation. It shows you were being thoughtful. Let us talk about the word appreciate. This is a wonderful word for showing gratitude. Sure, you can say thank you, and that is fine, but saying I appreciate it sounds much more sincere and mature. If someone holds the door for you or helps you with a task, you can say I really appreciate it. You can also use it to acknowledge a difficult situation. I appreciate that you are busy, but I need a moment of your time. Here, it means I understand and acknowledge. It is a great tool for conflict resolution and professional settings because it validates the other person's position. Practice saying it smoothly. I really appreciate your help. It is a phrase that makes people feel good about helping you. We should also cover the word bother. This is used in negative sentences mostly to mean making an effort. If you are tired and do not want to cook, you might say, I cannot be bothered to cook tonight. This is a very common phrase, especially in the UK. It means I do not have the energy or the motivation. It is slightly slangy but very common among friends. You can also use it to express that you do not want to annoy someone. I do not want to bother you, but could I ask a question? Here it means to disturb or interrupt. It is a polite way to introduce a request. And if someone apologizes for interrupting you, you can say no bother at all, meaning it is no trouble. It is a very flexible word for managing social friction. Let us discuss the word ages. This is a common exaggeration for a long time. Instead of saying, I have not seen you for a long time, we say I have not seen you for ages. It feels more emotional and emphasizes the length of time. I have been waiting for ages. It adds a bit of drama to your story. If you are standing in a long line at the supermarket, you can tell your family when you get home, "I was in line for ages." It communicates your frustration or your relief that it is finally over. Another great word for daily use is grab. We use this as a casual synonym for get or take. Let us grab some lunch. This sounds much more spontaneous and fun than let us eat lunch. Can you grab me a glass of water? It implies doing something quickly. I need to grab my coat. It suggests you will just be a second. Using grab instead of get makes your English sound much more dynamic and modern. It is a verb of action. Next time you suggest a meal, try saying, "Do you want to grab a coffee?" It is low pressure and friendly. Now let us look at the word mental. In a formal context, mental relates to the mind. But in slang, especially in British and Australian English, mental means crazy or chaotic. If a party was very wild, you could say the party was absolutely mental. If you had a very busy day at work, you could say it has been mental today. It conveys a sense of overwhelming activity or craziness. You can even use it to describe a person who is acting irrationally, though you should be careful with that one. Stick to using it for situations. The traffic was mental. It is a fun, expressive word that instantly raises your fluency level in casual chats. Let us talk about quality with the word rubbish. This is the British word for garbage or trash, but we use it as an adjective to mean bad or poor quality. That movie was rubbish. I am feeling a bit rubbish today, meaning I am feeling sick or low energy. It is a softer word than saying something is terrible. It has a bit of character to it. If you are not good at something, you can say, "I am rubbish at math." It is a self-deprecating way to admit a weakness. It sounds humble and human. We also need to talk about the word honestly. This is often used as a sentence starter to emphasize sincerity or frustration. Honestly, I do not know what to do. It tells the listener that you are dropping your guard and telling the truth. It can also be used to express disbelief. Honestly, I cannot believe he said that. It adds weight to your statement. It signals that what follows is your true, unfiltered opinion. It draws people in because everyone wants to hear the honest truth. Let us wrap up this first section with the word lovely. This is a very positive and pleasant word used frequently in the UK and Ireland, but understood everywhere. It is much warmer than nice. It was a lovely evening. She is a lovely person. It implies kindness, warmth, and beauty, all rolled into one. If someone does something kind for you, you can say that is lovely of you. It is a word that spreads good vibes. It makes your English sound polite and charming. Now that we have established that foundation of basic vocabulary, let us expand that toolkit even further. We are moving beyond the basics and looking at those specific words and phrases that act like glue in a conversation. These are the words that connect ideas that soften bad news and that make your interactions feel smooth and polite. Remember, fluency is not about knowing the most difficult words in the dictionary. It is about knowing the right words for the right moment and using them without hesitation. As we go through this next section, I want you to keep imagining yourself in these situations. Visualize the coffee shop, the office, or the street corner where these conversations happen. When you connect the language to a mental image, it sticks in your brain much better. We are going to start this next phase with a verb that is incredibly common in spoken English, but often overlooked in textbooks, and that word is pop. Now, you might know pop is a sound like a balloon popping, but native speakers use it constantly to describe quick movements or short visits. It is a friendly, casual way to say go or put. For example, instead of saying, "I'm going to the supermarket for 5 minutes," a native speaker will almost always say, "I am going on pop to the shops." The word pop implies that it will be quick and easy. It takes the seriousness out of the action. You can use it for visiting friends, too. You might say, "Why don't you pop by later?" This sounds much less formal than "come and visit me." It suggests a low-pressure visit, maybe just for a few minutes. Let us practice that invitation. "Why don't you pop by later?" It sounds welcoming and easy, doesn't it? We also use it to mean put something somewhere quickly. If you are entering a house and you are holding a heavy bag, your friend might say, "Just pop your bag on the table." It means put it there, but it sounds more helpful and casual. Try saying it. Just pop it on the table. It is such a versatile little word that instantly makes you sound like a local. Closely related to casual actions is the word stick. Similar to pop, we often use stick as a casual synonym for put. If someone gives you a flyer on the street, you might say, "I will just stick it in my pocket." It suggests a casual action without much care or precision. You can also use it to talk about staying in one place. We often say, "stick around." If you are at a party and you are not sure if you should leave, you might ask, "Are you going to stick around for a bit?" This means stay or remain. It is a very phrasal, verb way of thinking. Let us practice that question because it is great for social situations. Are you going to stick around? It shows you are interested in the other person's plans. There is also a great idiom stick with it, which means do not give up. If you are finding English difficult right now, I would tell you stick with it. It means keep going, persevere, and you will see results. I hope you will stick with this lesson until the very end. Now let us talk about a word that often confuses learners because it has two very different meanings, and that word is funny. Obviously, it means humorous, like a joke that makes you laugh. But native speakers also use funny to mean strange or weird. If you taste some milk and it has gone bad, you might say, "This milk tastes funny." You are not laughing at the milk. You mean it tastes strange or off. If you walk into a room and feel an uncomfortable atmosphere, you could say, "I have a funny feeling about this." It means a strange or suspicious feeling. Sometimes, to clarify which one we mean, we will ask funny, haha, or funny, strange. If someone says, "My neighbor is funny," you might have to ask, "Do you mean funny, haha, or funny, strange?" It is a good distinction to know. Try using it to describe something odd. "My car is making a funny noise." It is a very natural way to report a problem without being too technical. Let us move on to a phrase that is the gold standard for accepting someone's opinion or valid point, and that phrase is "fair enough." This is one of my absolute favorite phrases in the English language. It is used when you may not agree with someone completely or when you are disappointed by an answer, but you accept that their reason is valid. For example, if you invite a friend to the cinema and they say, "Sorry, I am too tired tonight," you would say, "Fair enough." It means I understand and I accept your reason. It is a polite way to end a negotiation or a debate. It shows you are reasonable. Imagine you are arguing about where to eat. You want pizza, but your friend says they had pizza yesterday. You would say, "Fair enough, let us get burgers then." It keeps the peace. Let us practice saying it with a calm, accepting tone. Fair enough. It is short, simple, and incredibly useful for keeping conversations friendly. Speaking of keeping things friendly, let us talk about no worries. This is originally from Australian English, but it is now used all over the English-speaking world, especially by younger people. It is the ultimate chill response. You can use it to say you are welcome after someone says thank you. Thanks for the coffee, no worries. You can also use it to accept an apology. If someone bumps into you and says sorry, you say no worries. It means it is not a problem, do not worry about it. It projects a very relaxed and easygoing personality. If you want to sound modern and approachable, this is a great phrase to adopt. Try swapping "you are welcome" for "no worries" next time you do a favor for a friend. It makes the interaction feel much more like a partnership than a formal exchange. Now let us discuss the verb mind. This is a powerhouse for politeness. We use it in questions like, "Do you mind?" or "Would you mind to ask for permission?" or favors. Instead of saying, "Can I open the window?" which is fine but direct, try saying, "Do you mind if I open the window?" It literally means, "Does it bother you?" So the answer you want is actually no. "No, I don't mind" means "go ahead." This can be tricky. If you ask, "Do you mind?" and they say yes, it means they do have a problem with it. But usually people say no, go ahead. We also use "I don't mind" to say we are flexible. If someone asks, "Do you want tea or coffee?" and you are happy with either, you say, "I don't mind." It is very polite and easy. Let us practice being flexible. Someone asks, "Where do you want to eat?" You say, "I don't mind, you choose." It is a great way to show you are easy to please. Let us look at the word bet. In a gambling context, it involves money, but in conversation, "I bet" means "I am fairly sure." If you see someone running for a bus, you might say, "I bet they are going to miss it." It is a prediction. We also use it to show empathy. If someone tells you they worked a 14-hour shift, you say, "I bet you are tired." It is a way of validating their feelings. It means, "I can imagine how you feel." We also use the phrase "you bet" as a strong yes or "you are welcome." "Can I count on you?" You bet. It shows high confidence and enthusiasm. Practice the empathy usage. Imagine your friend has a difficult exam tomorrow. You say, "I bet you are nervous." It invites them to share their feelings. Now we have to tackle one of the most complicated words in English, the word get. This word is a chameleon. It changes its meaning depending on the context. One of the most common uses for intermediates to master is get, meaning to become, or to change state. It is getting dark. I am getting hungry. She is getting angry. In all these cases, get describes a process of change. It is much more dynamic than using the verb to be. Instead of saying "I am hungry," which is a static state, saying "I am getting hungry" suggests the feeling is growing right now. We also use get to mean arrive. "I will call you when I get home." This is so much more common than "when I arrive at home." And of course, get means to understand. I don't get, it means I don't understand. If someone explains a joke to you and it clicks, you say, "Oh, I get it now." Let us practice the meaning of arrive. What time will you get there? It flows so smoothly. Try to notice how many times native speakers use get in a single day. It is everywhere. Let us talk about expressing mild regret with the word shame. In a serious context, shame is a heavy emotion, but in daily chat, saying "it is a shame" or "what a shame" simply means that is unfortunate. If you hear that your favorite restaurant is closed, you would say, "Oh, what a shame." You are not deeply heartbroken, you are just disappointed. It is a very British way to react to small problems. You can also use pity in the same way. It is a pity. If a friend cannot come to your party, you say it is a shame you cannot make it. It makes the other person feel missed without making them feel guilty. Try saying it with a falling intonation. It is a shame. It shows you care. Next up is the word run. We use this for more than just physical exercise. We use it to talk about management and time. To run a business means to manage it. But for daily fluency, focus on running late. This is the standard excuse when you are behind schedule. Sorry, I'm running a bit late. It implies you are in motion and trying your best. We also use run out to mean we have no more of something. We've run out of milk. We've run out of time. It puts the blame on the situation rather than on you. Instead of saying, I drank all the milk, you say we have run out of milk. It sounds less like an accusation. Let us practice the excuse. I am running 10 minutes late. It is a phrase you will definitely need at some point. Let us look at the word call. As a noun native, speakers use call to mean a decision or a judgment. If someone suggests a great idea like going to the beach on a sunny day, you say good call. It means that was a good decision. If you are not sure what to decide, you might say, it is a tough call. It means the choice is difficult. We also use it to say that a decision is up to someone else. It is your call. This puts the responsibility on them. It is very useful when you want to be deferential or polite. Where should we go for dinner? It is your call. It empowers the other person. Try using it when you agree with a plan. Good call. It sounds very encouraging. Another essential concept is touch. We use this to talk about communication. To keep in touch means to continue communicating over time. To lose touch means to stop communicating. But a great business or casual phrase is to touch base. This means to make brief contact to update each other. Let us touch base next week. It sounds professional but relaxed. It implies a quick check in, not a long meeting. If you haven't seen someone for a while, you might send them a message saying, just getting in touch to see how you are. It is a gentle way to reopen a connection. Practice saying, let us keep in touch. It is the standard way to say goodbye to someone you won't see for a while. Let us talk about helping with the word hand. Instead of asking, can you help me, native speakers often ask, can you give me a hand? It is a specific idiom that sounds much friendlier. Can you give me a hand with these bags? It suggests a shared effort. You can also offer help by saying, do you need a hand? It is less formal than do you require assistance. It creates a sense of teamwork. If someone does help you, you can thank them for giving you a hand. It is a lovely, warm expression. Try asking for help this way next time. Could you give me a hand for a second? It minimizes the request and makes it easier to say yes. Now let us look at the word case. You will often hear the phrase just in case. This is used when we do something as a precaution. I will bring an umbrella just in case. It means I don't know if it will rain, but I want to be prepared. You do not even need to finish the sentence. You can just say, take a jacket just in case. Everyone understands you mean just in case it gets cold. It is a very common logic in English-speaking cultures where the weather is unpredictable. We also say in that case to respond to new information. If someone tells you the restaurant is closed, you say, oh, in that case, let us cook at home. It connects the new fact to your new decision. Let us practice. I will bring some extra money just in case. It shows you are a smart planner. Let us explore the phrase sort of and its cousin kind of. These are what we call hedges. They soften your descriptions. Instead of saying he is angry, which is very direct and strong, you might say he is sort of angry. It means he is a little bit angry or it is not completely clear. It makes you sound less judgmental. It is sort of cold in here. It is kind of expensive. In fast speech, these often sound like sorta and kinda. I am kinda tired. Using these words prevents you from sounding too blunt or harsh. If you are describing someone who isn't quite your friend, but you know them, you might say, I sort of know him. It is very accurate for those gray areas in life. Another fantastic phrasal verb is to be up to. This is used constantly in questions. What are you up to means what are you doing? It can refer to right now or generally in life. What are you up to this weekend? It is the most natural way to ask about plans. If you see someone acting suspiciously, you might ask, what are you up to? But usually it is just a friendly inquiry. You can answer by saying not much, just watching TV. Or I am up to my eyes in work, which means I am very busy. Let us practice the question. What have you been up to lately? It is a great conversation starter that invites the other person to tell you their news. Let us talk about the word bother again, but in a different context. We talked about I can't be bothered before, but we also use sorry to bother you as a standard, polite opening. If you need to interrupt a colleague or ask a stranger a question, always start with sorry to bother you. It shows respect for their time. And if someone is worrying about something small, you can tell them, don't bother. For example, if a friend tries to clean up after dinner at your house, you might say, don't bother, I will do it later. It is a way of being a gracious host. It means don't put yourself to any trouble. Let us discuss the word manage. This is a verb that implies success after effort. If you ask, did you manage to fix the car, you are asking if they succeeded. It implies the task was difficult. I finally managed to finish that book. It gives a sense of accomplishment. We also use, I can manage to say we do not need help. If someone offers to carry your bags and you want to say no politely, you say thanks, but I can manage. It shows independence. It is a very empowering little word. Practice saying it. I managed to find a parking spot. It tells a mini story of struggle and success. Now let us look at the word tend. This is used to describe habits or general truths. Instead of saying, I usually wake up early, native speakers often say, I tend to wake up early. It sounds a bit more analytical and precise. He tends to be late. It describes a characteristic rather than just a one-time event. It is softer than saying he is always late. It leaves room for exceptions. Describing your own habits with tend to makes you sound very self-aware. I tend to get tired in the afternoons. It is a great structure for intermediate learners to adopt. Let us talk about supposed to and meant to. These are used to talk about expectations versus reality. The movie was supposed to be good, but it was bad. I was meant to call her, but I forgot. It highlights the difference between the plan and the outcome. We use this all the time to explain mistakes or disappointments. I am supposed to be on a diet. It implies that maybe you are not following it perfectly. It is very human. Try saying it. I was supposed to finish this yesterday. It is a gentle confession. Let us not forget the word point. We use this to talk about the purpose or the reason for something. What is the point? Means why are we doing this? If you agree with an argument, you say that is a good point. It validates the logic. If someone is rambling and talking too much, you might say, get to the point though. That can be a bit rude, so use it carefully. A softer version is, I am not sure I see your point. It asks for clarification. We also say there is no point to mean something is useless. There is no point in worrying. It is a philosophical way to give advice. Let us discuss the word round. In British English, especially round is often used instead of around. I am coming round later. Let us look round the shop. It means the same thing as around, but it flows faster. I will see you round. It is casual and quick. You can buy a round of drinks, which means buying a drink for everyone in your group. It is a very social word. We should also cover the word sense. We use make sense constantly. Does that make sense? Is a check for understanding. It makes sense means it is logical. If something is confusing, you say it doesn't make sense. We also talk about common sense, which is practical everyday intelligence. Using makes sense in your conversation shows you are following the logic of the discussion. I hope this lesson makes sense to you. It is a key phrase for checking that you and your listener are on the same page. Let us talk about the word chance. Besides meaning opportunity, we use it to talk about probability. What are the chances means how likely is it? Or we say by chance to mean accidentally. I met him by chance. A very useful phrase is fat chance, which actually means no chance at all. It is sarcastic. Will you lend me $1 million? Fat chance. But usually we use chance to be hopeful. Is there any chance you can help me? It is a polite way to inquire about possibility. Let us wrap up this section with the word brilliant. This is very common in the UK and Australia, but understood everywhere. It means very good or excellent. That is a brilliant idea. The movie was brilliant. It is stronger than great. It has a sparkling quality to it. If you use brilliant to describe a plan or a suggestion, you sound very enthusiastic and supportive. It is a high-energy word that leaves a positive impression. Now that we have built this foundation and refined your daily interactions, let us take a bold step forward. We are going to tackle some of the trickier parts of social interaction. We are going to learn how to disagree without being rude, how to talk about money without being awkward, and how to use those colorful idioms that seem to pop up in every movie and podcast. These are the skills that separate a beginner from a truly fluent speaker because they require a bit of cultural knowledge as well as vocabulary. One of the hardest things to do in a second language is to disagree with someone. In many cultures, saying no or I disagree is perfectly fine, but in English speaking, cultures, especially in professional or social settings, being too direct can be seen as aggressive. So native speakers use what we call softeners to cushion the blow. The most important phrase you can learn for this is, I see what you mean, but. This is a magic formula. It validates the other person first before you introduce your own opinion. Imagine a colleague says we should change the logo to pink. You hate the idea. Instead of saying, no, that is a bad idea, you say, I see what you mean, but I think blue might be more professional. It shows you listened. It shows respect. Let us practice that rhythm. I see what you mean, but. It keeps the door open for discussion rather than slamming it shut. Another wonderful phrase for disagreement is, I am not so sure about that. This acts as a gentle shield. It expresses doubt without saying the other person is wrong. If someone claims that learning English is easy, you might laugh and say, I am not so sure about that. It is friendly and lighthearted. It invites them to explain more rather than starting a fight. It is particularly useful when you are discussing facts that you think might be incorrect. If your friend says the movie starts at 8, but you think it is 7, you can say, I am not so sure about that. I think it might be 7. It is a humble way to correct someone. Try saying it with a thoughtful, rising intonation. I am not so sure about that. It makes you sound very diplomatic. Sometimes you need to be honest about a negative opinion, and for this we use the phrase to be honest. We often shorten this in text to TBH, but in speech, we say the whole thing. We use it to signal that we are about to say something that might be unpopular or critical. To be honest, I didn't really enjoy the party. To be honest, I don't think we can afford this. It prepares the listener for the truth. It creates a moment of intimacy, as if you are trusting them with your real feelings. You can also use frank, which is a synonym for honest. To be frank with you, I am tired. But to be honest is much more common in daily chat. Let us practice a sentence. To be honest, I prefer the other option. It gives you permission to speak your mind. Now let us transition to a topic that makes everyone a little nervous, and that is money. Talking about money in English requires a specific set of vocabulary to avoid sounding too formal or too clinical. When something is very expensive, we rarely say it is high-priced. We say it is pricey. This is a great casual adjective. That restaurant is a bit pricey. It means it costs a lot, but it is not necessarily a criticism. It is just a fact. If something is incredibly expensive and not worth the money, we call it a rip-off. This is strong language. If you paid $10 for a bottle of water, you would say that is a total rip-off. It implies you feel cheated. It is a great phrase to use when you are commiserating with friends about high costs. I cannot believe the price of tickets these days. It is a rip-off. On the positive side, when you find something that is great value, we call it a bargain, or even stronger, a steal. If you bought a beautiful jacket for only $20, you would tell your friend, "Look at this jacket. It was a steal." It means it was so cheap, it feels like you stole it, though of course you did not. Native speakers love talking about bargains. It is a national pastime. So if you get a good deal, share the news by saying it was a real bargain. Another verb we use with money is to splash out. This means to spend a lot of money on a luxury treat. I decided to splash out on a new phone. It implies, it was expensive, but you wanted to treat yourself. It is a fun, joyful way to talk about spending. When you are out with friends and the bill comes, you might need the phrase chip in. This means to contribute money to a shared cost. Let us all chip in for a taxi. We need to chip in for a birthday gift. It creates a sense of community. It is much better than saying, let us all pay a portion. Chip in sounds like a team effort. And if you want to pay for everyone, you can say, it is on me. This is the ultimate generous phrase. Put your wallet away. Lunch is on me. It is short, simple, and very powerful. It stops any argument about the bill immediately. Practice saying that with confidence. Don't worry, it is on me. You will be very popular if you use that phrase. Let us shift gears and talk about clarity. How do you check if you understand someone or if they understand you without asking, do you understand, which can sound a bit like a teacher speaking to a student? A great native phrase is, are you with me? This checks if the listener is following your story or your explanation. You are explaining a complex route on a map and you pause and ask, are you with me? It keeps them engaged. If you are on the listening side and you get confused, you can say, you have lost me. This puts the blame on the speaker, not on your English skills. It means your explanation was too confusing. Now I am lost. Sorry, you have lost me. Can you say that again? It is a very natural way to ask for repetition. We also use the phrasal verb clear up to talk about solving confusion. I want to clear up a misunderstanding, or thanks for clearing that up. It uses the metaphor of cloudy weather becoming clear. If you are unsure about a detail, you can ask, could you clear something up for me? It is a polite introduction to a question. And if you understand perfectly, you can use the idiom crystal clear. Is that clear? Crystal clear. It emphasizes that there is zero confusion. It is a very sharp and professional response. Now, I promised you some idioms, and idioms are the spice of the English language. They add flavor and personality. One of the most common idioms for making plans is to play it by ear. This means to decide what to do as the situation develops rather than making a strict plan. If your friend asks, "What time shall we meet for dinner?" and you're not sure when you will finish work, you can say, "Let us play it by ear." It means let us see how the day goes and decide later. It is the anthem of the relaxed person. I don't have a schedule today, I'm just going to play it by ear. It comes from music, meaning playing without reading the notes. It is a beautiful way to express flexibility. Another essential idiom for work or study is to call it a day. This means to stop working for the rest of the day. If you have been working hard for hours and you are tired, you can look at your colleagues and say, "I am exhausted, let us call it a day." It signals the end of effort. You can also use it if a project is not going well. "We tried our best, but let us call it a day." It is a decision to stop. Practice saying this when you finish your English practice today. "I have learned a lot. I think I will call it a day." It gives you a sense of closure. When we talk about health, native speakers often use the phrase "under the weather." This is the standard intermediate way to say you are feeling slightly sick, not seriously ill, just a cold or a headache. "I cannot come to work today. I am feeling a bit under the weather." It is polite and vague enough that you do not have to explain your symptoms. Everyone understands. Another health-related idiom is coming down with something. This describes that feeling just before you get sick. "My throat hurts. I think I am coming down with something." It alerts people that you might be contagious or that you need rest. Let us talk about decision-making. When you cannot decide between two options, we say, "I am on the fence." Imagine sitting on a fence and not knowing which side to jump down onto. Do you want the chocolate or the vanilla? "I don't know, I am on the fence." It is a visual way to describe indecision. If a plan is not yet decided, we say it is up in the air. Are you going on holiday this summer? It is up in the air right now. It means it is floating and has not landed on a definite yes or no. These phrases help you describe uncertainty without just saying, "I don't know," over and over again. We also have a fantastic idiom for being informed, and that is "in the loop." If you want to be kept updated about a project, you say, "Please keep me in the loop." It means make sure I am included in the circle of information. If you do not know what is going on, you are out of the loop. "I feel a bit out of the loop since I came back from holiday." It is very common in business English, but we use it socially too regarding gossip or family news. "Keep me in the loop" is a great phrase to use when saying goodbye to someone to ensure they write to you. Now let us look at some words we use to transition between topics. This is an art form. You cannot just jump from talking about the weather to talking about your job without a bridge. The most common bridge is "speaking of." You use this when something someone says reminds you of a new topic. If your friend mentions they like apples, you can say, "Speaking of food, have you tried that new restaurant?" It creates a smooth link. If you want to change the subject completely and introduce something new, you use "by the way." "By the way, did you see the news today?" It signals a side road in the conversation. And if you have gone off topic and want to return to the main point, you use anyway. Anyway, as I was saying, it is a reset button. Native speakers use anyway constantly to manage the flow of chat. Listen for it. It is the signpost that says, let us get back on track. Let us discuss the word figure again, but as a noun this time. In the context of numbers, a figure is a digit or a price. He earns a 6-figure salary. But in conversation, we use the phrase go figure to express surprise or irony. It is usually used when something happens that is the opposite of what you expected. I bought an umbrella and it stopped raining, go figure. It is a short, snappy way to say, isn't that ironic? It is a very American expression, but it is understood globally. It adds a bit of attitude to your storytelling. We also need to talk about the word shot. We use this to mean an attempt. I have never played tennis, but I will give it a shot. It implies trying something new without guaranteeing success. It is very encouraging. You should give it a shot. We also say, worth a shot. I don't know if it will work, but it is worth a shot. It means the potential reward is worth the effort. And if something is ruined, we say it is shot. My battery is shot. It means it is dead or broken. So from trying to breaking this word covers a lot of ground. Let us explore the word mood. Beyond just being happy or sad, we use the phrase in the mood to describe a temporary desire. I am in the mood for pizza. I am not in the mood for arguing. It explains your motivation in the moment. If someone suggests a movie, you can say, I am not really in the mood for a comedy. It is a valid reason to say no. We also describe a person as moody if their emotions change quickly. He is a bit moody today, so be careful. It is a helpful warning. Another great social word is awkward. This describes a situation that is uncomfortable or embarrassing. There was an awkward silence. I felt so awkward when I forgot his name. Native speakers are very sensitive to awkwardness, and we talk about it a lot. If you stumble or make a mistake, you can just say, well, that was awkward, and laugh it off. Acknowledging the awkwardness actually makes the situation less awkward. It breaks the tension. It is a very human word. Let us talk about the word gut. Literally, it means your stomach, but metaphorically, it means your intuition. I have a gut feeling that this is a bad idea. We say trust your gut. It means listen to your inner voice. I went with my gut. It is a way of justifying a decision that is not based on facts, but on feelings. It is very common when telling stories about difficult choices. My gut told me to leave. We also have the phrase call it. This is similar to calling a coin toss. We use it to make a prediction or to claim something. I call the front seat, meaning I claim the passenger seat in the car. But we also use it to admit we were wrong or right. Good call, we discussed earlier, means good decision. A bad call is a bad decision. The referee made a bad call. You can use this to talk about your own life choices. Quitting that job was a good call. It treats life like a game where you have to make strategic moves. Let us look at the word hassle. This is a noun that means annoyance or difficulty. It was such a hassle to get a visa. I don't want the hassle of driving. It is stronger than inconvenience. It implies stress and wasted time. We can also use it as a verb. Stop hassling me. It means stop pestering or annoying me. If something is easy, we say it is hassle-free. We all want a hassle-free life. Use this word when you want to complain about bureaucracy or complicated processes. Now, I want to give you a phrase that helps you when you cannot remember a word. This happens to everyone, even native speakers. We use the phrase, what do you call it? Or whatchamacallit. It is a filler word we use while our brain is searching. Hand me that thing, you know that whatchamacallit. It sounds funny, but it keeps the conversation going instead of stopping into silence. It shows you are still holding the floor. You can also say, it is on the tip of my tongue. This means I know the word, but I cannot say it right now. Using these phrases keeps you sounding fluent even when you are struggling. Let us talk about the word spot. We use this to mean a location or a place. That is a nice picnic spot. But we also use the idiom hit the spot. This is used specifically for food or drink. You drink a cold glass of water on a hot day and you say, that really hit the spot. It means it was exactly what you needed. It satisfied your craving perfectly. You can use it for a meal too. That burger hit the spot. It is a very satisfying phrase to say. We also use on the spot to mean right now without preparation. The teacher put me on the spot. It means she asked me a question I wasn't ready for. I had to decide on the spot. It implies pressure and immediacy. If you are good at improvising, you are good at thinking on the spot. It is a valuable skill. Let us discuss the word heads up. This is a noun that means a warning or a notification. Just a heads up the boss is in a bad mood. Thanks for the heads up. It is an informal way to look out for each other. It comes from the idea of lifting your head to see danger coming. Giving someone a heads up is a very friendly and helpful thing to do. Finally, let us bring everything together with the art of storytelling and connection. Fluency is not just about exchanging information. It is about sharing your life, your memories, and your dreams. It is about telling a story that makes people laugh or cry or nod in understanding. In this final section, we are going to unlock the phrases that allow you to do exactly that. We are going to look at how to structure a narrative, how to describe the past with nostalgia, and how to talk about the future with hope. Let us begin with storytelling because life is essentially a collection of stories. When you tell a friend about your day, you are telling a story. One of the most important phrases for storytelling in English is the phrase turns out. This is used to reveal a surprise or a result that you did not expect. Imagine you were worried about a test. You studied all night and you were panicking. Then you took the test and it was easy. You would tell the story like this: I was so worried, but it turns out the test was really simple. Or imagine you met someone you thought was a stranger, but later you discovered you went to the same school. You would say it turns out we went to the same elementary school. It is the perfect phrase for the plot twist of your story. It signals to the listener that the situation changed. Let us practice this. I thought I lost my keys, but it turns out they were in my pocket. Say it with a tone of relief. It turns out they were in my pocket. It adds a nice rhythm to your narrative. Another essential storytelling verb is end up. This describes the final result of a series of events, especially if it wasn't planned. We planned to go to the cinema, but it was sold out, so we ended up going for pizza instead. It implies that the journey took a detour. If you went to a party and stayed much longer than you intended, you could say, I ended up staying until 3 a.m. It creates a sense of spontaneity. It tells the listener that life happened and you just went with the flow. Try combining it with our previous phrase. I didn't want to go, but I ended up having a great time. This is a very common structure. It shows the contrast between your expectation and the reality. When you want to introduce a sudden event in your story, we use the phrase all of a sudden. This is much more common in speaking than suddenly. I was walking down the street and all of a sudden it started pouring rain. It adds drama. It makes the listener pay attention because it signals a disruption. A similar idiom is out of the blue. This means completely unexpectedly, like a bolt of lightning from a clear blue sky. He called me out of the blue. I hadn't heard from him in years, and then out of the blue he sent me a message. It emphasizes the surprise. If you get a job offer you didn't apply for, that is an opportunity coming out of the blue. Let us practice that imagery. It happened completely out of the blue. It makes your story sound exciting and dynamic. Now let us talk about describing people, because every good story needs characters. We have some great compound adjectives for this. If someone is practical, humble, and easy to talk to, we say they are down to earth. She is a movie star, but she is surprisingly down to earth. It is a huge compliment. On the other hand, if someone is arrogant and thinks they are better than everyone else, we say they are full of themselves. I didn't like him. He seemed a bit full of himself. It is a polite way to say he is arrogant without being too rude. If someone is very relaxed and doesn't get stressed easily, we say they are laid back. He is so laid back nothing bothers him. These phrases paint a picture of a personality much better than simple words like nice or mean. Try describing a friend of yours. My best friend is really down to earth. It tells me immediately that they are a good person. Let us move to the past. Nostalgia is a powerful emotion, and native speakers love to look back. The phrase look back is a phrasal verb meaning to think about the past. When I look back on my childhood, I feel very lucky. We also use the phrase back in the day. This refers to a time in the past, often with a sense that things were different or better. Back in the day, we didn't have smartphones. It sets the scene for a memory. If something causes you to remember a past event, we say it brings back memories. That song brings back so many memories. It is a lovely way to connect the present moment to your history. Another fantastic idiom for memory is does that ring a bell? We use this when we think someone might know something but we are not sure. If I mention a name like John Smith and you look confused, I might ask, does that name ring a bell? It means, does it sound familiar? If you vaguely remember it but cannot quite place it, you can say it rings a bell. It is a metaphor for a bell ringing in your mind to wake up a memory. I am not sure if I have met him, but his name rings a bell. It is very useful when you are trying to figure out if you have a shared connection with someone. Now let us look at the future and our hopes. We all know the word hope, but native speakers often use the phrase fingers crossed. This comes from the superstition of crossing your fingers for good luck. I have a job interview tomorrow, so fingers crossed. You can even say, I will keep my fingers crossed for you. It is a warm, supportive way to wish someone luck. We also use the phrase, looking forward to. This is essential for professional and social emails and chats. I am looking forward to seeing you. Be careful with the grammar here. It is always looking forward to doing something, not do something. I am looking forward to hearing from you. It expresses positive anticipation. If you are very determined to do something, you can say, I have set my heart on it. I have set my heart on buying that house. It means you are emotionally committed. It is stronger than just wanting it. And if you are incredibly eager for something to happen, you can say, I am dying to. I am dying to know what happened. I am dying to try that new restaurant. Obviously, you are not actually dying. It is a hyperbole and exaggeration to show your enthusiasm. It makes you sound passionate and engaged. Practice saying it with energy. I am dying to see the new movie. It shows you really care. Let us dive deeper into emotional vocabulary because sometimes happy and sad are just not enough. If you are extremely happy, especially about a specific success or a gift, we often use the word chuffed in British English or thrilled in general English. I was chuffed to bits with my present. It means I was quietly but deeply pleased. If you are thrilled, it means you are excited and happy. I am thrilled about the news. On the negative side, if you are extremely disappointed, we say gutted. This is a very strong word. It means you feel like you have been punched in the stomach. I failed my driving test, and I am absolutely gutted. It allows you to express deep disappointment without sounding like a baby. It is a very adult word for sadness. If you are feeling too much pressure and you cannot cope, we say overwhelmed. I have so much work, I feel overwhelmed. It is important to be able to admit this. And if you are angry or frustrated because a situation has continued for too long, we say fed up. I am fed up with this weather. I am fed up with the traffic. It implies that your patience has run out. You can also say, I am sick and tired of it. I am sick and tired of his excuses. These phrases help you vent your frustration naturally. Let us talk about empathy and how we react to other people's stories. If someone tells you something surprising, you need the right reaction words. You cannot just sit there in silence. Common reaction phrases are no way or you are kidding. These express shock and disbelief in a fun way. Your friend says, I won the lottery. You scream, no way. It encourages them to tell you more. If they tell you something terrible, you can say that is awful or I am so sorry to hear that. If they tell you something funny, you can say that is hilarious. Being an active listener is a huge part of fluency. You need to make noises that show you are engaged. Even simple sounds like, oh, really, or wow, go a long way. Let us discuss the concept of resilience. Life is hard and we often talk about overcoming problems. A great phrasal verb is get through. We will get through this. It implies surviving a difficult period and coming out the other side. I don't know how I got through that week. It was so busy. We also use deal with to talk about handling problems. I have to deal with a difficult customer. It implies action and responsibility. And when you finally solve a messy situation, we say sort it out. Don't worry, I will sort it out. This is a phrase of leadership and control. It makes people trust you. Practice saying it confidently. Leave it with me, I will sort it out. It is a very professional thing to say. Now let us look at some words for emphasis because sometimes you want to make your point stronger. Native speakers often use dead or way as intensifiers. That exam was dead easy. It means very easy. He is dead funny. It is slang, but very common. Or we use way, that is way too expensive. You are way better at this than me. It sounds much more natural in casual speech than saying significantly or far. I am way too tired to go out. It adds a punch to your sentence. We also use literally, which we discussed before, but remember, it is the go-to word for emphasis. I was literally in shock. Let us transition to the end of a conversation. Knowing how to say goodbye is just as important as saying hello. You cannot just say bye and walk away. It feels abrupt. We usually signal that we need to leave before we actually leave. A classic phrase is, right, I had better get going. The word right with a falling tone acts as a signal. Right, I had better get going. It means I have a responsibility to leave. It is polite because it implies you want to stay, but you can't. You can also say, I don't want to keep you. This suggests that you are ending the conversation for their benefit, not yours. It is very polite. I know you are busy, so I won't keep you. It shows you respect their time. When you are parting ways, it is nice to make a plan for the future, even if it is vague. We often say, "Let us do this again soon." It leaves the door open. Or lovely, catching up with you. This summarizes the interaction positively. If you want the person to update you on their news, you say, "Keep me posted." This is a great phrase. It means keep me informed, good luck with the interview, and keep me posted. It shows you care about the outcome. And a very common warm goodbye is, "Take care." It is warmer than goodbye. Bye, take care. It is a wish for their safety and well-being. Let us weave some of these into a scenario. Imagine you ran into an old friend at a coffee shop. You talked for 20 minutes. Now you need to leave. You would not just run away. You would say something like, "Look, I better get going. I have to get back to work. But it was so lovely catching up with you. Let us not leave it so long next time. Take care." This is a fluent goodbye. It has the signal, the reason, the positive affirmation, and the warm wish. Practice that sequence. I better get going. It was lovely seeing you. Take care. It feels good, doesn't it? It feels complete. We should also talk about the phrase, make it. This is incredibly common for plans. Can you make it to the party? It means, can you come? I am sorry I can't make it. It is the standard way to accept or decline invitations. We also use it to mean survive or succeed. He is a great actor, I think he is going to make it. Or if you are driving and you are late, you might say, "I don't think we are going to make it." It adds a sense of drama to the arrival. Let us touch on the word bother one last time because it is the king of British politeness. If you are in a shop and you are just looking, you can tell the assistant, "I am just browsing, thanks, sorry to bother you." Or if someone does something nice for you, you can say, "Oh, you shouldn't have bothered." It means you appreciate the effort, but they didn't need to do it. It is very humble. Let us explore the word mind in the context of memory. If something slips your mind, it means you forgot it. I am so sorry your birthday completely slipped my mind. It sounds less negligent than I forgot. It sounds like an accident. If you have a lot to think about, you can say, "I have a lot on my mind." We discussed this in part 1, but it is worth repeating because it explains why you might be distracted. Bear in mind is another good one. It means remember or consider this fact. Bear in mind that it is a holiday tomorrow, so the shops will be closed. It is a phrase for giving advice. Let us talk about the word bet in a new way. We use "I bet" as a response. If someone says it is cold outside, you say "I bet." It means I agree or I can imagine. It is a short, supportive response. It confirms that you believe them. Now I want to give you a phrase for when you are incredibly busy. We say "I am swamped." Like a swamp full of water, you are stuck in work. I would love to come to lunch, but I am absolutely swamped today. It is a valid excuse that everyone respects. Or, I am tied up. I am tied up in a meeting. It paints a picture of being unable to escape. These metaphors help people understand your situation instantly. Let us look at the word catch again. We had catch up, but we also use catch, meaning to hear or understand. Sorry, I didn't catch that. It is better than saying what. It implies the sound missed your ear. You can also catch a bus or catch a cold. But catching someone at a bad time is a useful social phrase. Did I catch you at a bad time? You ask this when you call someone. It gives them an out if they are busy. As we approach the final moments of this series, I want to talk about the concept of confidence. A lot of learners feel they need to be perfect before they can call themselves fluent. But native speakers make mistakes all the time. We stutter, we forget words, we change our sentences in the middle. That is not a failure, that is natural speech. The words and phrases we have learned in this series, like, "Turns out," "Fair enough," "Mind if I," and "Get going," are designed to give you the rhythm of English, not just the grammar. They are the tools that allow you to hesitate and stumble with style. When you use a phrase like, "Well, to be honest, I am not so sure about that," you are buying yourself time to think while still sounding eloquent. When you say, "I will play it by ear," you are taking control of the uncertainty. This is the secret. Fluency is about flow, not perfection. It is about keeping the river of conversation moving, even if there are rocks in the way. I want you to think about how far you have come. In Part 1, we learned to be vague with stuff and things. In Part 2, we learned to be polite with pop in mind. In Part 3, we tackled disagreement and idioms. And today, we learn to tell our stories and share our hearts. You have a massive vocabulary now at your fingertips. The next step is simply to use it. Don't be afraid to sound different. When you start using these phrases, you might feel like you are acting. You might feel like you are putting on a costume of a native speaker. That is okay. That is how you learn. Fake it until you make it. Eventually, these phrases will become part of you. You will find yourself saying "fair enough" without even thinking about it. You will find yourself saying, "I am gutted" when your team loses, and it will feel real. I challenge you to take one phrase from today, maybe it turns out, or fingers crossed, and use it in a conversation or a comment, or even just talking to yourself in the mirror within the next 24 hours. Make it yours. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this massive deep dive here on English in Advance. It has been an absolute pleasure to be your host. I hope this script has given you not just words, but the confidence to use them. If you have enjoyed this long-form session, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, and it lets me know that you want more content like this. Leave a comment down below and tell me which phrase was your favorite, or share a short story using the words we learned. I read every single one, and I am always chuffed to see your progress. Remember, learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint, but you are running a brilliant race. Keep listening, keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way. I am Jessica, and I am looking forward to seeing you in our next adventure. Until then, take care of yourself and goodbye for now.